The position of the fan is very good. Correct ಆಗಿ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಹೇಲೋ ತರ ಇದೆ.
Yeah, that's the only thing giving me halo. That's all the wisdom I have.
ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು.
First time it is put to use, Hari, this halo. I usually don't sit in this room.
It's downstairs.
This is the bonus room. I usually don't sit in this room.
Okay.
So this is I wanted to have a special venue for this special thing. So
okay. So you shifted all your books here, or this is only part of it?
Oh, the books there?
Yeah.
There are some other books. Just some books. Most of my books are in other places next here. You can't see it.
Okay.
So these were the books I listed for selling on Amazon Prime.
Oh.
Yeah. They're still not gone yet. So about half the books I was able to sell.
Okay.
Most of them are textbooks and things like that. And when I was leaving PNG, lots of books, they just dump it to the trash can. So I just brought it home and listed it. Somebody can use it. So,
okay.
Because all nice books, these are all $200-300 books, but they just goes to the trash can. So,
okay.
Because everybody is so specialized. What one fellow does, the other fellow has no clue. So
yeah,
that's why I brought them all. Was able to sell quite a few of them.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. So we had a wonderful session yesterday with Dr. Sri Krishna, and we continue that today. He had stopped at a very interesting place yesterday, the end of the first chapter, in the actual beginning of the instruction with the 11th shloka. So I request he continues. Maybe you can tell a different prayer today. We have been telling Sahana Vavatu. Maybe some other Shanti mantra or something you can. Whatever.
Tarihi Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good day to you all. Gita Ashish, may I request Kumari Hamsa to tell that famous verse of Swami Vivekananda, then we will get it going. You may have to unmute yourself, I think.
Sir, should I recite it?
Yeah, please.
Klaipyam asmagamaf partha naitatvayupapadyate kshudram hridayadaurpalyam tyaktva parantapa.
Very good. Thank you. That's very beautiful. As we start the chapter 2, before we get to 11, verse 11, there is some few observations I was to make. Arjuna says, Yaneva hatva najiji vishamaha. Having killed them, I don't feel like living. This is kind of something we can apply to ourselves, although we are not here to kill anybody. If somebody told me I could not have morning coffee, I don't feel like getting up. Even though coffee has absolutely no calories, I don't need that for nutrition, and people have lived without coffee. But to me, that's a kind of thing. Addictions are like that. So by killing them, by not using them, we don't feel like living. So other observation is Krishna went on telling him Kutasva, Kashmalaminam, and also the verse with Shudram, Hridayador, Balyam, all those things. He never gave any advice. He started only when he said, Karpanya dosho pahatasvabhavaha prichamitvam dharma sammuda chetaha yatshreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham sharimantvam prapannam. So only when he asks, seriously surrender, then only, this is a very standard trend in Sanatana Dharma. You don't go around with tom-tom and telling, I have a message here, come and follow me. Only when we really ask for advice, it is given, unless it is life-threatening. Otherwise, we don't do that. That's a standard format in Sanatana Dharma. So the very first message of Krishna starts is Prahasanniva Bharata. He says he's always cheerful. One of the characteristics of Krishna is the cheerful personality. Ashotya nanmashochastvam prajna vadanshcha bhashase gatasun agatasunshcha nanu shochanti panditaha. Says you talk like a real expert, but a real pandita will not grieve, worry about living or for the dead. This is it's a very high level of teaching. The very first verse itself, very first message of Krishna itself. You may wonder why he started so high. It may be simply because Arjuna was so preoccupied with both killing as well as the people who are going to die and people who are already dead. That may be the reason. And in fact, there is a lot of message in that. Even if somebody is willing to pay us minimum wage, even $350 to worry, you can worry all your life, nothing gets solved. That's why they say chite and chinte. In Kannada, say chite burns the dead body and chinte burns the living body. So it doesn't get anywhere. The only thing we should worry about is getting into the habit of worrying. That is the only thing we should worry about. So that's a very, very powerful message. Many people, in some translation, they say that these people are not worthy of thinking, worrying about. It almost implies that the Kauravas are not really, we should be not worried about. But that's not what the message says. Anybody. It includes Yudhishthira, includes any of them, includes Krishna. So this is meant as a general statement, not particular to any people. But some people have done that translation. That these people are not worthy of worrying. It's not true that. It's true for all. As he goes on this with a high level of message, this is what he's talking about, how the Atma is imperishable and who are we to kill and who is killing, who is dying, none of them is happening. So it's a very high message. That's why it's also called Sankhya. It's a sort of knowledge. That's how it goes on for time. And then he talks with very high level, and then how Atma is cannot be killed, and so don't worry about it. Just do your work. That's what he's saying. But he also goes and from such a high level yoga, then he goes to the street level yoga. He tells that if you walk away from this, people will make fun of you. That's worse than death for someone who has a good name, who has a good merit. So that is like a Samanya yoga, a street level yoga. Then he moves on to give the value of karma yoga. Do it with absolutely no attachment to it. Do it as your duty, as your function. Don't worry about whether you win or lose, then nothing happens. Sukha dukkhe samay kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsasi. Papam in Sanskrit, Hari, and we discussed a lot. Papam is not just sin always. Here it is more guilt. Ayo papa in say in Kannada, that's also like a papa. It is not exactly sin. So if you lose, there is really no guilt. If you enter the battle with that kind of a samatva. So that is. Then he is giving more on karma yoga. The very first verse of karma yoga starts here. That is why in our translation we did not call it. We made it as both Sankhya and yoga. Instead of Sankhya yoga, we split it Sankhya and yoga. Yoga here being karma yoga, Sankhya being jnana yoga. Of course, we did not add anything in the title for the Samanya yoga, but that is there. So that is the karmanya vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbuhu mate sangosva karmani. This is a very popular sloka. Almost everyone knows it. And it's also often, a lot of people translate adhikara as duty, you have right to act, you have no right to fruit, but doesn't make any sense. You can bake a cake, but you cannot eat it. Doesn't make any sense. You make paisam, you cannot eat it. But what he's saying that you can make paisam with all the effort, because when you bring it to the table, your child may come and mommy or daddy, she hold your leg or something, and the paisam falls on the child's head, and you run to the children's hospital. So those things you have no control on that. So you're only control on actions, and the result we really don't have control. Like Hari was saying, a cricket bowler cannot tell I am going to bowl only if I get a wicket. So it doesn't, I will buy the stock only if it is going to go out. These are all don't work. So we should do our action, and result is dependent on many things. Then what determines the result? So I will tie it up with these verses which come in other places as well, the continuation of this in a way, although it is not ordered like that in the Bhagavad-Gita. You may ask, okay, if I don't have control on the result, who has it? Of course, a lot of people say, God decides, God gives, God takes, like that. But in Gita, of course, God is behind everything. But clearly told in chapter 18, what determines the result of anything we do. That is adhishtanam tatakarta karanancha prithagvidam vividascha prithak chestaha daivam saivatra panchamam. It is the timing, the situation, the context when we do the work. Obviously, if I try to go and sell a swimsuit in winter, it will be a failure. Nobody will buy it in winter. So timing of action or context of action is very important. And then the person, the karta, karta is very vital. And we have seen how Modi as karta has moved many things. So it is important. The individual definitely has a lot of importance. And then karanancha prithagvidam, all the resources available to that person, including knowledge and tools, everything. And vividascha prithak chestaha, how that resources are applied for the project. That's also important. But still, even all these things, there is an unknown factor, which is daivam saivatra panchamam. It is daivam here. It is not really God giving it. It is like unknown. It's acts of God in insurance policy, or it could be our past karma giving fruits now. So there is always an unknown quantity, which unknown factor, which can change the outcome of everything. Just to give you an example, I interviewed in Monsanto company in 1980s. They were just getting into agricultural biotechnology. They wanted to make GMO plants, GMO seeds. And they said we are really playing with plant molecular biology. This was in 83, 84, like that. We are not expecting any result till 2010 or 2015. We are just practicing. I thought this is a wonderful area where you're not expecting any outcome. It's a good place to go and work. So it is a lot of fun you can have without too much responsibility to produce something. But it turned out that they did not know that they had a genetically modified seed by 1990. So they could not predict that, because a lot of progress happened not in Monsanto, elsewhere, in other academic labs and other people. They could immediately apply it, and they already had a GMO seed. And it also had a lot of public backlash. People were not prepared for it. And Monsanto company almost went bankrupt because of all those things. So they had success, but their success led to their failure. So until it really become acceptable and things change later. So this is just an example how things can happen. And the interesting thing is, in the very next verse, Krishna says, other people say, if you are trying to do good, God is behind you, he will help you. But he says, Nyayam va viparitam va panchayate tasya hetavaha. Even if your intention was terribly bad, these are the same factors that determine the outcome. This is a that's why we feel a lot of time in our own life. Oh, no, this fellow is so bad, but everything works nice for him. He's so successful. He made so much money, all those things. He's actually he's a cutthroat person. He's not a quality. We think all these things like that. But actually, Krishna has said that it doesn't matter. Nyayam va, viparitam va. A very good example is happened in our own lifetime is 9/11. In fact, we had a big discussion after what happened on 9/11. All the multi-faith people, Muslims, Christians, Jews, and Hindus, and Jains, and Buddhists, we were all sitting. Why does God let this happen like that? How can we make these bad things succeed? There's a big decisions like that. Unfortunately, nobody, our Panditji was saying something else. I was only an audience. I was not in the panel to tell them, but otherwise I would have quoted this. It doesn't matter. If you look at 9/11, all of them done with bad intentions. Two of them outperformed more than what Bin Laden thought. He did not think it would bring down a building like that. Whereas the other one just did what he was expecting, just hit a wall in Pentagon in Washington, D.C. The other one failed. It was brought down. So out of the four, two of them outperformed, one failed, one just did what he wanted. So you can see how this Nyayam va viparitam va is working very nicely. So then he also says in the another place that nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatin tata gacchati. So even you did all these nice things, but whatever the factor, the unknown factor did not help you. So it didn't work, but still it puts you in a better situation. Because even you started in a very good way to do something good, even if you didn't succeed, it will put you in a better situation. With next life, you'll be in a better situation. Forget about next life. In this life itself is when you did not do very well in the exam. You studied very hard for the exam. Something happened, you didn't do well. You can take it next time. You're already in a better situation than one who has never taken it. It already prepares you for the next thing. So that we can experience that in this very life itself. So that's all nice tied up. And also in chapter 5, he says, Nadate kastijit papam nachaiva sukritam vibhuho jnane navritam gnanam tena mushyanti jantavaha. So it is not me giving all these things. It is not my decision that you get this or you don't get that. Don't blame me. It's only ignorant people blame me. Just like that was happening after 9/11, the ignorant people were blaming God. Why does God let this happen like that? So that's exactly, it's so beautifully tied up in the Bhagavad-Gita, how all these things works out like that. So that basically covers everything around this Karmanyavadikaraste. If we tie that all those it's scattered around within the Bhagavad-Gita, but we can put it back here. And he continues, of course, gives the qualities of a very balanced person, the Stita Prajna. That is, those sets of verses are very beautiful, very nice to remember from time to time. How a balanced person lives. And he's all the balanced person. What does is all in the behavior. He doesn't grow any horn on his forehead. He looks just like any other people. And I think one verse I like beautifully in that is a very favorite verse for me, that is Yanisha Sarvabhutanam Yasyam Jagarti Sanyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Munehe. In some respect, I have read the status when football match or basketball matches are going on in Cincinnati, Super Bowl going on. I have absolutely no interest in that. Even when I watched Super Bowl, I was only looking at the cheerleaders, not at this real game. But people are all getting excited and and also liked all the refreshments they used to have. But I could care less what happened to the game. Anyway, so a little bit of Stita Prajnate has come for me for some things. And also the concluding verse in that is also beautiful. This is Apuryamanam Achala Pratishtam Samudramapa Pravishanti Tadvat Kamayam Pravishanti Sarve Sasanti Mapnoti Nakama Kami. This is with a Tristoba Jagati meter. It's a beautiful verse. When we chase behind any kind of pleasure, it's really not so good. It's not chase. They should come to you. When it comes, you enjoy it. Um, and like one lady makes the best Mysore pak. I never ask her to make. When she makes and brings for some party, I just enjoy it. I don't ask her to make. So when it comes to you, be prepared to enjoy. Don't be dejected at that time. So, but just because you didn't chase for it. So that is a very nice verse. And by the way, when we talk about Trishtup and Jagati meter, we discuss Gita audios. The best audio for all the Jagati and Trishtup verses is by Hari's Guru, Kavita Krishnamurti. She has her recitation for all those Jagati meter as well as the Trishtup meter verses are phenomenal. I don't think anybody else has done better than that. Maybe you can listen to it, and youngsters can try to mimic her. It will be very nice. And also the nice thing is Yesha Brahmi Stiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimushyati Stitvasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvana Mrichati. So that's a beautiful verse. Once your mind has expanded to that idea, it will never contract back. It is even in any circumstance, doesn't matter. Once it has stretched it, it stays like that. It doesn't lose its elasticity. So it is like that. That is a very nice ending for the chapter 2. And then now we move on to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is what is karma yoga. It is titled as, it says the inevitability of karma, he says, which is true. Nahi kastit kshanamapi jatu tishtat karma krita karyase havasa karma sarva prakriti jayir gunaihi. It's all driven by our own inner nature, and we are all relentlessly acting. Even if you are not acting, our mind will be acting. And there is nothing like nobody is really keeping quiet. That's a very good observation. And then the one I like there is Krishna, as we know, we always Benne Krishna, Kalla Krishna, he was a thief, right? He used to steal makan. He also used to, when women are taking bath, they would steal their dress. So he's a prankster, and he is a big thief, actually. But he tells who is a thief. It's kind of interesting. We can hear from a thief who is a thief. He says that in verse 12, Ishtan Bhogan Hivo Devaha Dasyante Yagna Bhavitaha Trairdattan Apradayabhyo Yo Bhunkte Stena Eva Saha. There's one who enjoys all the infrastructure, gets all their benefits. They get, but they don't pay it back. Such a people are basically, he calls them as Stena Eva Saha. They're burglars or thieves. They know only exploit, but they don't give back. And this is, if you notice, the tax system is based on this. I'm sure in India also, I never paid tax there. I never earned any money there. So if you look at it, if you send everything to a charitable contribution, your tax can be zero. There's no limit. You can give to any non-profit organization. They don't care whether you give to church or a temple or just some NGO, doesn't matter. So if you don't, of course, you have to pay tax for the infrastructure. Also, if you made a profit, only you pay tax. If you open a Pizza Hut or a curry in a hurry, or any Bombay braces, any restaurant you open, if you didn't make money, you don't pay tax. You can even write off. Loss is also allowed as a tax. But you made money, you pay for the infrastructure, and the people came to you. And the advice I give people about this business is when you go to a restaurant, if you only had dinner, it's a break-even point for the restaurant people. If nobody drank anything, they don't make any money. Who will run a business for break-even? They could just stay home and just watch TV. So the idea is when you go and eat in a restaurant, please buy drink. Drink is their money maker. In a gas station, gas is not their money maker. It's break even. And drink coffee. I usually buy some candy, which I like. You don't have to buy something you don't want. Something you need, you want, buy it in that. Sometimes, as as you grow old, your brain shrinks and prostate swells. So what happens is when I'm driving a lot of time, I don't really need gas, but I have to stop for a bio break. So what I do, I use the restroom. Somebody gave me the restroom, so I buy something in that. If not anything, I make a mistake of buying that Starbucks cold coffee, and that only makes me to go back to bathroom again very quickly. but the idea is to pay back something. You use it for all infrastructures. So you pay back. That's a very important verse. I like that very much. And the next one is also very good. Yagnashishta sinasanto muchyante sarvakilvishaihi bhunjate te tvagam papaha ye pachanti atma karanat. We all talk about, we know halal and kosher. What is Hindu shuddhi? I think some people wanted to put a shuddhi label also. The Gita's definition of Hindu shuddhi is, it doesn't matter whatever you eat it with an attitude of gratitude. That is not that ownership, oh, I paid for this, I bought it, nothing like that. Because it's very popular, many people, I go to some parties, this lady was telling, this parota, I made it from scratch. I didn't buy it in Patel Brothers, I didn't go to Indian grocery, it's so nice, I made it from scratch. I said, it's very nice, but to make it from scratch, you have to first make this world. You cannot make anything from scratch. So you still have to, even if you made that chapati or parota by scratch, still eat it with an attitude of gratitude, not the ownership. So that's a very very nice message in the Bhagavad-Gita. I call that as the ahara shuddhi according to Bhagavad-Gita. He later on goes along telling what kind of food the sattvic people like and what rajasic people like and what tamasic people like, and describe the quality of food without describing the details in it, the ingredients. The same nicely sattvic uppittu can start with the sattvic. It is not too salty, not too greasy, very fresh, nicely made, and the soji is roasted to the right level. It doesn't look like a poultice mudde, so it is very nice. And the same thing, you can add more things to it. Some people have to have chutney and sambar and more ghee and more salt, uppinkai, they want pickles, everything to eat uppittu. So that becomes rajasic. You can leave the uppittu for a few days and eat it, that becomes tamasic. So the same food you can convert sattvic into, but he's not judging. He's just telling the sattvic kind of people like that, rajasic kind of people like that, tamasic people. Kari and I were joking, no tamasic fellow will go to CTR and say, give me some stale masala dosa. He will not order stale masala dosa. But for whatever reason, if the masala dosa was stale or something happened, he won't mind eating it. He still enjoys it. So that is that's the food. And here again, if you notice, at no point he mentioned any ingredients. A lot of people say that, oh, eating meat is tamasic. They say these are all not according to Gita. I'm sure it is so in some other texts. I have not read all the texts because I myself is a tastarian. For me, the only criteria is it should taste good. That is why I like this Gita verses. Like one of my relatives says that you modify Gita to your taste. That's not true, actually. I did not, and it is there in Gita. Anybody can challenge me if I said anything wrong. Right? So that is about all the food things, and of course there are people, different sects have different restrictions, but it's up to the people what to eat. For Sri Vaishnavas, ahara niyamam is a full text is there. Like you cannot eat garlic or onion. You cannot eat gooseberries on Tuesdays and mulberries on Wednesday, and atikire only after Dwadashi and all those things. But those are all okay. It's uta tenniche, nota pararigiche, right? So whatever we enjoy. But Gita is fully supportive of that. But important thing is attitude of gratitude. Otherwise, interestingly, Christians have something like that. In a way, actually, Hindu shuddhi is very close to Christian. They have to say grace before eating. Their saying is, even if you found a dead crow on the street and barbecue it and eat it, you should say grace. Don't say that this is some dead crow I found on it's a street kill or road kill, not like that. Anyway, that is good. Then Hari, very nice, another verse in that is Tattvavittu Mahabaho Guna Karma Vibhagayoho Guna Gunesha Vartanta Iti Matva Na Sajjate. So our attitudes work in conformity with the society attitudes where we live in. All our mannerism conform to the surroundings. Although some people translate our gunas work within our own gunas. That is true. Our nobody is completely one guna or the other. So it's all intermixed. So my sattva guna has to work in collaboration with rajas and tamas. That is one way of looking at it. But I like the Devi Gundapa's way. It is said that it is not just our guna. No person is an island. We live in a society, so we have to conform to the society. What is cool in Bangalore may not be cool in Cincinnati. Here, the temple opens at 9 o'clock. In Bangalore, the temple opens earlier. So we should not be complaining. When we don't adjust to that, then you really feel perturbed. We feel lost. We have that. When we don't realize that, we feel uncomfortable to change. But Sanatana Dharma always says that everything is desha kala born. Nothing is etched in stone. Everything conforms to the society, time, and where we are. So that's actually brought out here in this. I don't know whether I should tell a little joke. When we gave presentation in Belgium, our technical presentation. After the presentation, they said, there is a beach very close by here. Before you go, why don't you go and enjoy the beach? So we are in a Phillips Petroleum Company in three-piece suit, everything. And those people never told us that it was a nude beach. So we went there. We both of us, myself and Delvi, are wearing three-piece suit. And we look at everyone is nude there. They were looking at us. What species are these? Like dressed up in suit and coming to a nude beach. So we felt so embarrassed, and what we did was we removed our coat, we removed our tie, we removed our shirt and a t-shirt, and we were walking topless just with the pant on. So because we have to conform to the surroundings, otherwise it kind of looks odd. So that is just a little trivia information for you. Then another important verse in this is Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharma Swanushtitas Swadharme Nidanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Here that don't try to excel, work very hard to excel in something which is not to you. It is not your inherent nature, which you really are not up to it. Don't spend too much time and too much effort on that. Just because that may be giving a higher reward, like a basketball player or a professional football player makes $1 million in very short time. So I should not be trying to become that one because I am not up to it. I can keep trying, waste a lot of time, but I won't succeed. So even if something is not that meritorious, if it is close to your nature, do that. That's what he is telling. This Swadharma becomes in chapter 18, but I don't have to cover it there. If you see there, it immediately goes to Swakarma. The same verse is repeated. Sveyan Swadharma Vigunaha Paradharma Sanushthitas Swabhavaniyatam Karma Kurvannapnoti Kilbisham. So what is come to you naturally, when you do that, there is no, just the act, you enjoyed it, enjoyed the act of doing that itself, because it was so close to you. You can also serve, you don't have to take too much effort to do that, it comes at ease to you. So that's what that way, doing like that, you can succeed, right? Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam jagatam Sakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. So by doing something and dedicating it to the Supreme, anything we do, bring a supreme purpose to that, you become very successful. You will also be useful for the society. It will be helpful for you as well as for the others. It won't be pain for anybody. So that is all connected very nicely there. Then sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api natyajet. Sarvarambhahi doshena dhumena agni rivahita. So any action we do has something negativity. I enjoyed working for Procter & Gamble for 23 years. The most boring part for me was we had to attend a safety meeting. Otherwise, you will get fired. So the safety meeting was the most boring thing. But that is some kind of sadosam apinat. I really did not need the say of a very safe person, but still I had to sit through the safety meeting. That is important. Like my eldest brother would never ever want to even go to Forum Mall. Forum Mall is not too far from our house, second block, Jayanagar. I asked him to go to Forum Mall. No, beda kano, bada rush, like that. For him, that itself is a big pain. And imagine if he had to come to America, that for him, every step will be a pain. So that is why for him, it is not his swadharma. It is not his swakarma. So that is, so we're able to cover many within chapter 2 and 3 itself, connecting to other things. The chapter 4, this is called the wisdom in action, Gnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. And here the one important concept comes very early on is that the Sanatana Dharma. Bhagavad-Gita is a part of Sanatana Dharma, how it is always there. It was perennial way of thinking and life. That's why I said it started with the beginning of solar system itself. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manu rikshvakave bravit evam parampara praptam idam rajarishayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. So Arjuna's time itself, yoga was really lost. It is there was no invasion, nobody came. This another important thing Hari and I were discussing. Arjuna never asked how it was lost, who lost it, tell me I'm going to kill him, nothing like that. Arjuna never asked that. That's one question Arjuna did not ask. He just, everything else he was asking. A lot of time he was an askful in a way. Because everything he was asking, but this one he never asked. So Hari and I, we came up with our own solution, why it may be. Because with progress of time, everything gets corrupted. Tradition becomes more important than the truth. The underlying truth gets buried. They don't understand why they were doing something. Tradition becomes more important. Tradition is there to protect the truth. It is a little bit like a baby. We put a nice young baby, we put a new PNG diaper on it, everything, baby is clean, diaper is clean. After a while, we need to change the diaper. And just because it's a PNG diaper, we cannot leave it there. And we have to change it with the passage of time. That's why without the transformation, every religion or every system basically stinks just like the diaper which has not been changed. And unfortunately, what happens is people don't know which one to keep and which one to throw. Some people just keep the diaper. They don't know which one to change. And some people keep only the baby, that is little better, without changing the diaper. And some people throw both of them, both the baby and the diaper. So we don't want that. That's why it's kind of interesting. Krishna said, parampara, like Sukhabodhananda is one person who I like very much in Bangalore. I don't know whether he's still there, but he talks about this verse very nicely. Parampara le rampane. It becomes parampar, it becomes lot of rampa. So it creates. So then another thing is very nice. The avatara concept comes here, like Sambhavami yuge yuge eda eda hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. So when he's talking about avatara as a universal concept, he's not telling Meena Kriteka Matakola Nisimha Varnin Swamin Paraswara Tapodana Ramachandra Sheshan Sarama Yatunandana Kalki Rupa. He's not telling like that only those avatars. All those are all the recognized in avatars, but everybody is a hero with 1,000 faces. It can happen anywhere, anytime, as the need is required. As the need arises under any sky, under any time, it can happen. There is no limitation at all for the number of avatars. In fact, somebody dresses very, very elegantly because, the avatara ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ. We say that even that is avatara. So every one of us fill a role in that. When a need arises, some avatars become very famous, but we are all avatars. Like Joseph Campbell says, hero with 1,000 faces. Right? Then Of course, he stresses the importance of jnanam. Nahi jnanena satrisham pavitramiha vidyate. Tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. He also tells that go and learn it. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattva darshinaha. He says, go in with full respect, ask them questions not to show your intelligence, but to understand and also serve them. The reason you serve them is when you stay with them. Of course, anybody can give nice lessons, but how they behave is very important. How the guru negotiates with the lady who is selling the spinach in front of the house, how he negotiates, how he behaves, how the little things he does, how he treats people, all those things reflects. Those are all things to learn. In fact, Gurukula learning used to be like that. They used to stay with the guru and the guru's wife, and they used to live there and see, not just learning lessons, also learning how the people behave. So that's also very important. Then we come to chapter 5. This is so chapter 4 is another very important verse. This is about the Chaturvarnyam. That's verse 13. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagasah tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. So he says the nature is like that. There's a different varieties of people are there, different functions are there. Everyone is inherently not same. Each one has a different color. And he classifies, of course, we have the 4 varnas broadly classified. And only Bhagavad-Gita is the only text to my knowledge where these 4 are clearly defined in a universal way, without telling that we have to learn Vedas and only Brahmin, or nothing like that. It is given in a very, very generic way. It's universally applicable, the 4 varna characteristics that is elaborated in chapter 18. And the idea is to choose whatever you do close to what suits you. All these things are important for the society. Interestingly, this is chapter 4, verse 13. In the Purusha Suktam of Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda also, the same thing. Brahmana asyamukamasi bahurajanya kritaha uru tadasya yadvaishya padvyagam shudro ajayata. That's also verse 13, mantra 13. Something about this 13. I don't know why it worked out like that. Anyway, so the important thing to understand is all are important. Even though when we look at Einstein, everybody says he's a very brainy person. But we know that if his kidney was not working, his brain will go to pot. So it's important. Like these are all the parts of a society. Every function is needed. Ideally, people who like to do the best, whatever they like, that makes successful. In fact, Krishna defines Kim Adhyatmam. Arjuna asked, what is Adhyatma? Krishna says, Svabhava Adhyatma Uchate. Svabhava itself is Adhyatma. Each one has its own Svabhava. Every one of us are two Svabhava. Our deepest sense, we are all one and the same. The Supreme, Atman, Paramatma, or whatever you call, lives in us. But in the Vyavaharik, we are not same. Each of us have a different thing. Everyone walking around thinking, Aham Brahmasmi, the life doesn't work like that. They have to act. That Vyavaharik changes. That is where all these varnas come. So we should stay close to what we are. So that kind of completes 4, and 5 is again, we talked about how God says, Nadatte Kashtitit Papa, it is there in that. It is all it's all our own action, our own gunas. It makes us to, our svabhava makes us to act. That's all. That is nothing to do with God. And then an interesting verse there is, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Srapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. So they are not Samavartinaha, Samadarshinaha. They say the same spirit in everything, in animal, plant, human, dog, and dog eater, all of them. So that is chapter 5. And chapter 6 is Dhyana Yoga, talks a lot about meditation. Not everyone can meditate. Meditation is, life itself is meditation for some people. When you are thinking, Yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yajjuhoshi, dadasyeti, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushvam adarpanam. That itself is anything you do when you are always thinking bringing supreme into that, even whether you're doing abhishekam to Shivalinga or washing a water buffalo, doesn't matter. When you bring that, you're always connected. They're always meditate. But the essential conclusion of his meditation is, what happens in the meditation is, Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvancha mai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sachamena pranashyati. So basically, in my understanding, the ultimate goal of meditation is you see the Supreme in everything, and everything in the Supreme. So this is kind of little complicated for Arjuna, how to see the Supreme in everything. So in the chapter 10, he talks about he identifies the best in everything. It doesn't mean that the one next to that doesn't have Supreme. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. So it's there in everything. But it's easier to identify, to say that all mountains have God, instead of that, or Himalaya. Among mountains, I am Himalaya. Among rivers, I am Ganga. Like that, identifying the best in it, it makes it easier. If you have never eaten a mango fruit, if you buy first time you are eating a very bad mango, you won't even identify how a mango tastes. But if you have eaten a very good, nice mango, Alfonso mango, then even if the mango is not that good, you know how the mango is. You still call it mango, you enjoy it. But first time, if you eat the bad, that's why when you recognize the best, how it is, then the not so best also, you can see the God everywhere. That is the idea of his talking, showing where he is all. And in that one sloka I like very much is Masanam Margashirshoham Tutunam Kusumakaraha. It says among all the seasons, among all the months, I am the Margashirsha month, which is around, depending on which calendar you use, around December 15th. And actually in our system, the Margashirsha month, as it ends, Uttarayana starts. So it is almost like the dawn for the 6 months night of gods. It is like at the end of that, beginning of Uttarayana. So it is like an early morning, what we call Brahmi Muhurta. That is why he likes that Margashirsha. And it turns out to be around December here. And Rutunam Kusumakaraha is, of course, the spring season everyone likes. It's a flower-bearing season. And I used to tell children that Krishna likes Christmas and Easter, because you have the Margashirsha in December, and Easter is another big thing for children here. So those are the favorite times of Lord Krishna. So that is what that one. And chapter 7 is where he talks about the universal concept. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitum ichchati tasya tasya machalam shraddham tameva vidadamyaham. So that concept of whatever God you want to worship, as long as you worship in sincere kind of, he will only increase your sincerity in that. He's not telling you should worship only Krishna. So in our system, you can basically Ishta Devate concept is there. And also he talks about Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna artho jignasu artharti gnanicha bharatarshava. Here again, he is not judging people. Whatever reason, even if you went because you had some pain, they comes to temple only when they need something, only when they have pain. It's not like, even calls them as good people, he calls them. So you can turn to God, Sankata Bandhare Venkata Ramana, if you have pain, or if you really wanted some material thing, or if you just wanted to know. And of course, the Gnani calls him as his one and same with the Krishna himself. He knows. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sadurlabhaha. He has realized that, and to reach that kind of a stage, we don't have to worry about it, because Krishna himself says that not many people can do that. Bahunan Janmana Mante Gnana Vanma Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. Then he also talks about how we obtain give form to God, but God exactly not that form. Avyaktam Vyaktimapannam Manyante Mam Abuddhaya Parambhava Majananto Mamavyaya Manuttamam. The same, he said that you are giving me form unnecessarily. That's not on me. I'm more than that. Nobody can give me form, really. You cannot define like that. So that's what Arjuna asked question. Well, what is best way if we worship God with form or no form? That's in the chapter 12. Krishna, the same person who said that don't give me form, people give me form without knowing fully. The same Krishna says, worship a form. It makes it easier, something to cling on to. You can also do calculation. Few people can do it mentally, but some people have to use a calculator. So that is, it doesn't mean that just because you can make mentally, that's the greatest thing, nothing like that. It makes it easier. Kleshaha adhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. It is harder to connect something which is very abstract, right? Even for someone like Einstein had to say E equals mc squared. Obviously, there is no E written on energy. There is no mass written on M written on mass. So it makes it easier to understand all of our symbolism, writing something, all this help. So he gives the value of that. Of course, chapter 12 kind of goes back again, just like the Chitta Prajna Lakshana, whom he likes the most, and the characteristics of a person. That is again repeated in a way, that idea. In the chapter 13, I forgot to give you chapter 9. Chapter 9 is Raja Vidya, Raja Gushya Yogam. This has remained as a big secret for many of us because in this is the first time he says, Apichetsu duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhat sadhureva samantavyaha samyak gavasito isa. Even one who is a gravest sinner can turn back very quickly to me. We should be considered as wise. He doesn't have to go through too many cycles of anything. It doesn't take too much time either. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma becomes very quickly. And this in chapter 9 again repeats about the futility of all the Vedic yagnas, that was brought up in chapter 2 also. People who give more value to the body of the Veda, not the spirit, and they only end up going to heaven, and are the good karma is over, they come back to earn more. It's just like we're going on vacation to Hawaii. Once we end up money, we come back to earn more. So it is like that. So he casts the futility of the Svarga. It is transient. Even Indra's Padavi is transient. Nothing is permanent. So he's advising people more to seek moksha. And we also know that if you look at all the stipulations for going to Svarga, I don't think any of us can go because they all needed very complex Vedic yagnas. I don't think it's easy to go to hell for us than to heaven. So it's not that easy. So then that's why his advice was more to be liberated, moksha, liberation. And another interesting thing is he defined what moksha state. He did not like Vaikuntha, where Vadiradhana, Vaikuntha Varnana is there. People describe how it is, and Vishnu lying on, and nice hall, and all the pearls and everything, and Garuda standing one side, Hanuman on the other side. All those things are there, but there is no such description in Gita. Description in Gita is Natadbhasayate Suryo Nashashanko na Pavakaha Edgatva Nanivartante Tadhama Paramam Mama. It's very easy. Even sun doesn't shine, or the moon doesn't shine, fire doesn't shine. Either that place is so bright, nothing shines. And once you go there, you don't come back. It's almost like getting sucked in. But like any good tour, if you go to any good package tour, let us say tour of Bangalore, they will give you Varal, they will get you to Lal Bagh, they will take you to Kabbanpur, they go to Anjaneya temple, Ragi Gudada Anjaneya. But they don't have Hari in that. We cannot, visiting Hari won't be there. Or going to CTR in Malaysia won't be there in the package tour of Bangalore because they don't even know Hari. This tour, they go by some what tourist places or CTR. So something a good tour package says that they give you a time. This is in the tour package. You can do something on your own. And our chauffeur will take you. If you want to go to see Hari or to CTR to his masala dosa, he will take you. So the same thing Krishna does here in Bhagavad-Gita. He has given different things, a path and how to go. Then he says, He gives one open package. Yayam vapi smaran bhavam, tyajatyante kalevaram, tantame vaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. So you can decide whatever you are contemplating all your life at the time of exit. If you are really thinking about it all the time in your mind, if you want, you can write your destination yourself. He's not denying that. Some people make fun saying that, oh, the Islamic paradise is so nice. I tell, why don't you think it all the time? Krishna allows that. If you live thinking of it, you can go there. He's not forbidding. So that's why I call that as a nice tour guide. Yayam vapi smaran bhavam Chadatyante kalevaram tamtame vaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. I think that's a nice package, the tour. And then basically, so we reached chapter 10. Whatever, once we recognize what is good, we can find it very easily. And chapter 9 is Rajavidya with a big secret, because this is the first time he allows anybody can immediately get transformed. Then finally it concludes in 1866, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Ahantva Sarvapapebhyo Mokshayishyami Mashuchaha. So that is, you don't need any intermediary person. Krishna is giving direct assurance. It's kind of continuation of chapter 9, because that Manmanava Madbhakta sloka repeats in chapter 18, that part. So that in chapter 11, of course, a lot of people like that because it's very musical. The chapter 11 I have been made to recite the most number of times, not because I liked it, but my mother's mother, whenever she visited us from Mysore, she used to make me repeat chapter 11. So chapter 11, there's one famous sloka there, Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhave Jugapaduttita Yadibas Kadrishe Sasyat Vasastasya Mahatmanaha. And Oppenheimer is supposed to have repeated that one, and this one, Kalasmi Loka Kshetra Pravrittav Loka Samastan Pravrittaha Tritepitvam Nabhavishyami Sarve Evastita Pratinekeshu Yodaha. I have become death, I am a destroyer of everything. So it says that Oppenheimer quoted that verse. So chapter 11 was made a little bit more famous by Oppenheimer. Chapter 13 is Kshetra Kshetragna. It asks us to understand both the matter and spirit. For us to live our life, you can't be only thinking about the spirit, you should also know the matter. That's why you should know the Kshetra as well as the Kshetragna. You should know the limitation of the Kshetra and the supremacy of the Kshetragna. So that is basically, in my opinion, the chief essence of chapter 13. Chapter 14, of course, is talking about Triguna, Sattva, Raja, Tamas. In detail, he describes each of them. But interestingly, he says that you have to transcend all of them, because it doesn't matter if you buy a parrot and put it in a golden, nice cage, or a metal cage, or in a dirty cage, it is still not free. It is only has to remain within that cage. The only way is to transcend it. To transcend the Gunatita, don't get stuck in any of them. But even though he says better to be in Sattva more than the others, but still you have to transcend that also. You don't want to get stuck in any of them. But chapter 16 is kind of spilling over of chapter 14, I think, when it goes to two extremes. When you become demonic, another side is become divine, extremely this and that. So it is kind of the two extremities of the Triguna. Almost you can call it as 5 gunas. Those are attitudes, completely attitudes. And he also assures, Krishna gives several assurances. Some assurances are not so good. He says there will always be demonic people. He makes sure that the Asuri Sabhava people, unless they reform, he makes sure that Muda Janmani. So he makes them come back again and again and again, although they can reform very quickly, but they have to do it themselves. So it is wrong to think that there was a golden age and everybody was nice, everybody was, that is not there. As you know, there were more avatars in Krita Yuga itself. We had both Prahlada and this Hiranyakashipu, both were there. So at all times. So that is why when the societies make rule, don't get rid of capital punishment. There are some people we need to hang them, no question about it. So that's one promise of chapter 16. And chapter 15, of course, the world tree comparing, and we talked about the Natadva Saite Suryo. Another thing is very popular verse when we eat food, we say that Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashtritaha Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyanam Chaturvidam. That is a very popular verse in eating food. And then another important verse in that is Sarvasya Saham Hridisannivishto Mattasmritir Gnanam Apohanancha Veda. The second part is okay. The first part, I gave intellect, memory, everything. I also take it away. It says Apohanancha. It almost seems like if you're preparing for an exam, it is not a very, very good blessing of Krishna. You go there and you study and you take the memory away, but it's not what it is. We are not able to live if we remember everything. We cannot function. So some things have to be in the background for us to function normally. In fact, Yudhishthira was asked a question in Yaksha Prashna, what is the greatest mystery of life? Yaksha asked. He says, we hear people dying every day. So open, oh, my uncle passed away, or somebody passed away, or neighbor had a heart attack. But those of us who live, we live as though we are going to live forever. That is really a mystery. That's the greatest mystery of life, he says. Yudhishthira was not present when chapter 15 was told. So there he would have found the answer why. Because Krishna was making us to forget some things. So that is then 16. Of course, 17, of course, he talked about how we behave, Shraddha, depending on how the aptitudes of Sattva, Raja, and Tamas impact everything we do. Everything, how we think, what we do, how we worship, who we worship, how we behave, everything is reflected in that. So these are not, that is the software, and this is how it is expressed. So that is, he deals with it quite a bit in chapter 17 as well as in 18. And he covered some aspects of 18 anyway, of
usually
Swadharma, Pakarma.
When a football match is very exciting, there is extra time given. So I think we can take 15 minutes more extra time because it's very exciting. So you can, maybe 15-20 minutes you can, with everybody's permission, of course, since it is...
maybe 5-10 minutes. Should I bring the cheerleaders? I appreciate it. Thank you, Hari. Anyway, so chapter 18 we discussed, like he talks about the difference between, he asks us sannyasa and tyaga. He asked the difference between that. I have a good anecdote at the company. There is one in America, there is no retirement age. You can work till somebody doesn't like you and kicks you out, but there is no retirement age. There was one person, Bob Laughlin in PNG. He was 78, 80. He kept on working. Everyone, what is this fellow is so greedy? Why does he not? What is he pulling on? And they moved into a smaller office, but they couldn't fire him. They put him in a smaller office, smaller table, smaller chair. Doesn't matter. He kept on working, and we said, what a greedy fellow he is. Basically, and after PNG moved him out, he went and worked as an adjunct professor in University of Cincinnati. And what did he do? He donated $5 million to Princeton Chemistry Department, Princeton University. So it's actually a tyagi. A sannyasi doesn't possess anything usage, but he doesn't do much. Sannyasi does less. But a tyagi is a sannyasi, but works a lot. He's not a minimalist. He does a lot of stuff, but just to give it away. So that's a kind of, I used them as example. Sannyasa versus tyaga. One is, so I think tyagis are more important for a society, in my opinion. They're more helpful. Sannyasis will not have much to give other than knowledge. So that is about chapter 18, and chapter 18 brings back, as we already told, describes the four varna duties very nicely and tells the success comes only when we stick to what we are. There is another beautiful verse there. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridesha arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudani mayaya. So he says that I am residing in every inside and I am running it. Somebody asked me, if he's running that, why we do bad things? I said, think of Krishna or Lord living in us as a current. The current, you watch TV or you watch a game or you watch a porno on TV, current does not, it's up to us. The current is the Chaitanya. That is what he's telling. He's not telling you exactly what to do, what we do with it. But without that, without Chaitanya, we won't be there. Without current, nothing will work. So, and of course, another important thing is, he says, after telling this Sarvadharman Parityaja, he says, Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha sushrushe vachyam na chamam yogya suyati. So again, the same thing as chapter 2, that you advise only when you're asked. Here, same way. Message of Gita is ready for all, but all may not be ready for it. So only when you share it with people who are really interested in it, those are the people he likes the most. Natatasman manusheshu. It prices that there's nobody else like that. Such a person who spreads this message of Bhagavad Gita to people who are ardently interested in that. So with that, of course, Sanjaya praises it at the end. If I can recruit Sri Gauri, you start with to tell the last verse of Bhagavad Gita. If she is there, I don't know whether she is there or not. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Can she tell? Is she there? Can you unmute her?
I don't know. I asked unmute.
Or there was also Pavani, right? Pavani, who liked Alankara without Ahankara. Can she tell that? If they all slept, maybe Hamsa can complete that. Hamsa, but
Pavani is here. Maybe I'll ask her to unmute.
Yeah, Pavani.
Okay, maybe they have a school, perhaps. I don't know. Okay, maybe we can ask Shilpa to recite the last one.
Yeah, that's good. She should have recited all of it. Okay. Shilpa, do it, please.
Not unmute ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? Yeah. Yes.
यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीविजयो भूतिः ध्रुवानीतिर्मतिर्मम.
Very good. Thank you. Just one correction there. There is in Visarga Sandhi, sometimes you get Vokara, sometimes you get Visarga. Atad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha. When you say that Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, even though Krishna is the word, when you split it, but you should tell us only. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Nitir Matirmava. It comes better. Like in Vishnu Sahasranama, Vishvam Vishnur Vasatkaro comes better. Vishvam Vishnur Vasatkaraha. It becomes like a tili sorrow. So we should just technically that is correct, but when you have that when you have a vowel sound, when you shout, it's the vowel that is making noise. You will take away that vowel. Like in our temple, we should have uniformity. We have Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. We should make it Om Namah Narayanaya. I said it really looks like a very pathetic thing. They wanted uniformity. Om Namah Narayanaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya sounds very good. Namo Shivaya is kind of sounds like Naresh Modi. So thank you all very much for allowing me to share my whatever view, and appreciate that. And I'm going to miss this. Maybe you should continue. I don't know what I will do. Like Basham was telling that he was looking forward. Many people are told that they were looking forward for 9 o'clock. And
So there is I have some plan for the next few days, at least for the whole month of July, which I will we will discuss the next session. I thought every day I'll post translation of the Gita. Everybody whoever can read a little bit, one day chapter, and then at the end of that we'll plan something.
Yeah, that'll be good.
We still have our project to work on, the restructuring project. So maybe sometime we should work on that as well.
You always try to make me work.
Yes. You just said there is no
we should do that. One of the idea of this was that we were going to revise it using something.
No, and you just admitted there is no retirement age in United States. So we'll drag you from a sannyasi and make you a tyagi. So. So thank you so much to Dr. Sri Krishna for sharing his wisdom. He speaks so casually and in such a engaging manner, but it's a result of almost 60 years of study of Gita. It is not something that is thought up yesterday. So that we can make out the kind of integrated thing. It's almost all the ingredients of Gita have become a wonderful dish in his head. It's not standing alone like different ingredients. So great pleasure. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of you. We'll have our final session on Monday, India time, and Sunday evening, US time. So looking forward to seeing all of you.
I will just, you said 60 years. I want to tell one joke in the ending. Okay. There was this Gita workshop going on, and one fellow said, I have been listening to Gita and doing exactly what Gita says for 60 years. Everybody was very impressed. Some of them, Namaskara Sarshi, and some people went and touched his feet and all those things. They were so impressed, this fellow. Then it turned out that his wife's name is Gita. So he was, some people had even tears. So what a kind of person is 60 years. We just started learning today. This fellow is here and went in his father Dhuli. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you all.
Thanks so much. Great pleasure and wonderful session. We'll meet tomorrow. We won't have a session. The day after, we will meet at the same time, 6:30 a.m. India time. All right. So take care. Thank you so much to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful session.
Om Tat Sat. Thank you, Hariji. Thank you, Kotiji.
Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.